Now, there are those who believe that most of the world's problems could be solved if we simply eliminated a lot of people. This is especially true of some leading environmentalists who say humanity is the Earth's biggest problem. Let's look closer at the argument with Carter Dillard. He's with the Optimum Population Trust, an organization looking to curb the global population. So welcome to the program. We had an emailer that we put on the air earlier suggesting that the population control people want the world's population to come down to between 300 and 500 million from its current 6 billion. What is the optimum population of the world in your view?
Well, according to the Trust scientists, it's between 4.6 and 5.1. 5.1 being what they consider to be sustainable and 4.6 being optimal.
So about a billion fewer than we've got now.
That's right.
Okay. How would you reduce the population?
Well, I think the first place to start actually begins with what's been a live controversy in this country, and that's been funding of family planning. The best way we can do this is by increasing education and equality of women worldwide and by ensuring universal access to family planning. Now, the Bush administration, throughout its time, refused to fund family planning services through the UN Population Fund. The Obama administration just reversed that policy.
It's all Bush's fault. We got it. Okay. Now, is it immoral, do you think, to have more than 2 children?
I wouldn't comment on the morality of it, but I can say that it could have an undue negative impact on the environment, and that's the point of these arguments.
I think it was the health minister in Britain who did use the expression, it is immoral to have more than 2 children. You wouldn't draw that moral conclusion? It's just a practical thing?
Well, I'm not making the argument here, but I think the benefit of urging people to have 2 children is that it keeps us within what's called the demographic dividend, and that is that there's a good ratio of productive adults to dependent children.
So you've assumed that the world...
When that happens, Stuart,
I'm sorry, I'm terribly sorry, but you've assumed that the world has finite resources and that only a population of 5 billion and no more can be sustained with those finite and shrinking resources, right? So you've defined what is the finite resources on the planet and therefore extrapolated backwards to what is the optimum population. Is that how you've done it?
That's not my assumption. David Rutledge at Caltech has said that by 2097, 90% of the world's fossil fuels will be spent. So his suggestion was, in fact, an optimal population of about 5 billion and a 40% reduction in consumption. What we're talking about is simply the fact that just the sort of cap-and-trade regulation that you referred to earlier in the program is not just a result of per capita consumption, but it depends on the number of people consuming. And in the U.S., we're going to add 100 million people by the year 2039. The idea is to simply have a conversation about preventing that sort of increase in the number of consumers, and then each of us don't have to make the sort of changes in our lives that you all were talking about earlier.
All right, Carter Dillard, we've heard your opinion. We appreciate you being with us. Thanks very much, sir. Got it.
Thank you, Stuart.
All right, let's